Welcome back. Hello, and welcome back to the Republic of Swordland in Suzerain. And in today's episode, well, let's go to a movie premiere. Maybe get our spirits back up. We did just, well, fail. Simple as that. We failed. I mean, I don't know what else to say really about it. It went badly. We lost. By one vote. One stinking vote. Well. Alright, guys. We just gotta move on. We'll just have to move on. We've still got a government to run. We've still gotta keep things going. Hey, now that we don't have our veto messed up, we'll be able to deal with the, these... I'm pretty sure I've already read you. Actually, Golkanist threat against Dustnerists. General Kroll has issued a warning to the residents of Bergia, urging them to remain vigilant against the threat of Golkanist extremists and potential violent targeting the Dustnerist community. The governor expressed concerns about rising tensions between the two nurse groups, specifically highlighting the threat that Golkanist poses for the region. Kroll emphasizes the importance of maintaining peace and harmony within the special zone, and called upon residents to report any suspicious activities or individuals to the authorities. Governor assured that necessary measures will be taken to ensure the safety and security of all residents regardless of their religious beliefs. Two organizations declare support for BFF, the largest Polish nationalist organization of Suzerain, Children of Ism, and a local Golkanist cult, Golconda. Bloodrat have publicly declared its full support for the militant organization British Freedom Front. Children of Ism, known for its strong advocacy of British rights and interests, aligning itself with the BFF publicly, has raised concerns about the potential escalation of violence and destabilization in the region. Lacegraph reported that both organizations are now considered to be supporters of terrorism, and thus will be swiftly taken to justice. Well, at least because we didn't lose our veto, and we still have all our power, we could probably make the Bergia situation better. So, there's that at least. Angolia warns against Vagslandian threats to the sea. Yesterday, Prime Minister Martin van Houten made a statement denouncing Vagslandian activities in the Marquian Sea. Vagsland's military activities only strengthen our resolve to defend what is rightfully ours and to prove the world that our alliance with Swordland is a necessary step to keep Vagsland aggression in check, said Prime Minister. Yeah, alliance. I have been invited to an exclusive preview of Alfred Kerbach's new film, The Morning Shall Come. Although I wasn't in much of a movie-going mood, it would have been unpresidential not to attend. With its massive budget and Kerbach's directorial cachet, the drama was set to be a milestone for Swordland's burgeoning film scene. Personally, though, I was just looking forward to spending some time with my family. It was a very hot and sunny day as Serge drove us to the old capital. Serge, I wish you would have been able to vote. You deserve it. More than that creep. The film was to be screened in the historic cinema, Algeled di Elori, the very first cinema in Swordland. Serge had maxed out the air conditioner to keep Catalilla comfortable. I kept silent through most of our ride on H1. I couldn't get my mind off the results of the assembly vote. Frank fidgeted with his tie as he stared out the window. What's wrong, Frank? Since when do you care about what's happening in my life? I've been busy lately, but I'll always have time for you. Busy with failure. Frank, don't talk to your father that way. He tried his best. You're hurting me, Frank. Frank turned his head away to look outside the window. I turned to Deanna. Excited for the movie, sweetie? Deanna nodded happily. What about you, Papa? I know you're sad, but failure helps us grow, right? Exactly. Now, where did you learn that? From you! Aw. Everything's gonna be wonderful from now on, isn't it, Monica? Of course. Let's just focus on having a nice time at the movies. Monica folded her arms. We drove on in silence. Serge rolled down the soundproof glass between us. I mean, I've saved the economy. I think I've done pretty good, okay? Sir, we are about to enter Erlori. We'll be at the cinema in a few minutes. Thank you, Serge. I took a brief look outside as Surge rolled the soundproof glass up again. I could see the many towers of Airlorry rising over what was left of the old city walls. In the distance there were several planes flying towards the city. As they got closer to us, I saw that they were military planes that looked like the sharp-edged Arcasian designs. They were probably headed for our new joint military base. I mean, it's been there for a while, but sure. Surge knocked on the glass and gestured forwards. We are at the main square of Airlorry, and the historic cinema, Angelel, the cinema of Engels, was right in front of us. Is this the place? Yeah. It was an old Burke-style corner building with walls that looked like marble from a distance. There were exquisite ornaments on each side of every window. Surge pulled the car to the entrance of the building, which was lit by vivid neon stripes in many colors. On the wall next to the entrance, they were painted the words, "Stop the oppression of bloods." Come on, let's get out. We're gonna do our best, but this isn't time for politics. Surge opened the doors, and we exited onto the red carpet. We were just about to enter the building when a journalist managed to block the path. Mr. President, how are you handling the defeat of your constitutional reforms in the Assembly? I'm going to keep fighting for my changes. This isn't over yet. Thank you, Mr. President. And were you aware Turk and Sol would be present at the meetings? No, I had to find out from my driver. Before she could ask anything else, the guards ushered us into inside the theater. In contrast to the cinema Burke-style exterior, the inside was modern and sleek, with bare walls painted in black, red, and white. The film's cast and crew were already in the foyer, with glasses of champagne in their hands. We approached the crowd and were welcomed by producers and the event organizers. A man walked up to us with quick steps. Madame, Mr. President, it's good to meet you here. He gently bowed at Monica and shook our hands. It's an honor to meet you. I'm Alfred Kirbuck. The honor's mine, Mr. Kirbuck. I'm a big fan of your work. I glanced at him, and he innocently took a sip of his cola. It's very humbling to know that you've been watching and enjoying my movies. If you don't mind me asking, which one was your favorite? This one might be slightly different from my previous works. Let's see. You wrote and directed famous movies. Rebecca was nominated. Yeah, let's go with The Swordfish Dream. I loved The Swordfish Dream. Oh, really? Then you might enjoy this one, too. I'll admit, I didn't expect you to be such a cinephile. Frank looked me in the eye and struggled not to laugh. Why don't we take our seats? It's about to start. We entered the screening room, the lights dimmed, and the film began. It was a period drama set in the 1870s about a swordish soldier who pursued a doomed romance with a widowed, bloodish farmer during the conquest of Bergia. I wondered briefly whether Kipper was commenting on my own treatment of the British people, and then he had finished filming, but then he had finished filming long before I became president. Hello? As the credits rolled, I made an early exit to use the men's room. I was up my hams when I heard an unmistakable voice behind me. So, what did you think? Turkinsoa leaned on his cane. He had the same frail appearance I'd noticed at the assembly meeting. Yet up close I could still sense the raw magnetism that had kept him in power for 20 years. I found the plot questionable, but it certainly looked spectacular. What about yourself? Sentimental pladblum for the enjoyment of housewives only. And for a period piece, the script contained far too many anachronisms. Indubitably. I'm surprised to see you're still around, sir. What were you doing at the assembly? My country was about to make a rash decision. I couldn't simply sit by. And are you pleased with the outcome? Quite. There was a glint in his eyes. But why did you block my reforms? I will not let you and that bleeding heart idiot Richter tarnish my precious constitution. I'm doing this for the good of the country. Ha! Some of his spittle landed on my cheek. You'll find out soon enough how your country repays you for your goodness. He slipped past me and out the door. Sol security staff and mine were now clustered outside the washroom, forming a buffer against the large crowd that had gathered. Honestly, I would be fine if they killed me after my goodness, as long as my goodness actually happened. Come on, let me do good, and then you can assassinate me, whatever. At least my good happens then. That's Turkin Sol. I heard someone scream. That's Turkin Sol! I heard someone scream. His guards closed around him, and mine around me. By the time the chaos subsided, I was back in the car with my family, and Sol was long gone. Oh boy, that's a lot of news. Swordland faces mounting threat from BFF terrorists. As the British Freedom Front, BFF continues to sow seeds of unrest and jeopardize the fabric of our nation. The specter of their extremist ideology looms large. The government, along with the governor of the special zone of Bergia at the forefront, confronts the growing BFF threat, though questions arise about the effectiveness of their response. The BFF alarming rise poses a clear and present danger to our society. Their radical activities and subversive agendas have gripped communities, stoking fears and undermining our national security. The governor's acknowledgement of this peril has led to intensified efforts to counteract the BFF presence. As the threat escalates, citizens increasingly demand a comprehensive plan to neutralize the BFF and safeguard our way of life. Rain and Sol meet at Kibbuck screening. The recent exclusive screening of Alfred Kibbuck's new film, The Morning Shall Come, was attended by an unexpected guest, former President Turkin Sol. Rarely seen outside of his home on Duru Island since his 1949 resignation, current President Anton Rain was also in attendance, and the two men were seen together. New law on the Sordish language vetoed. The Unified Language Act has been vetoed by President Rain after the approval of the Grand National Assembly by majority vote on Thursday following a 3-hour debate. Kazaro Kibaner, who campaigned heavily for the bill, criticized President Rain for his decision to veto the act, saying it contained much vital new rules that would have united Sordish education and protected the integrity of Sordish language and identity. Rain had no prior knowledge of Sol's assembly appearance. The appearance of former President Turkin Sol at the recent National Assembly vote on President Anton Rain's constitutional reforms has been the subject of much discussion. Now ahead of an exclusive preview of Alfred Kibbuck's new film, Rain admitted he had not been informed that Sol would be present at the proceedings. I had to find out from my own driver, he stated in front of the historic cinema, Al Anglais in Erlori. Rain to keep fighting for reforms following Assembly defeat. Despite the Grand National Assembly voting down his planned constitutional reforms, President Anton Rain declared he would keep fighting for the changes he promised. Speaking outside the historic cinema, Anglais and Erlori, ahead of an exclusive preview of Alfred Kibbuck's new film, Rain did not provide any details as to how he would challenge the Assembly's final decision, merely stating, "This isn't over yet." The economic. Investment surge boost Gassam. Gassam is experiencing significant boom buoyed by an influx of investments. This turn of events indicates a promising future for the company, which could have far-reaching implications for Sordish economy and the energy sector. With fresh capital in hand, all eyes will be on Gassam's next move, and it plans to capitalize on this financial boost. One film, two very special guests. An exclusive screening of Alfred Kibbuck's new film, The Morning Shall Come, made a splash, but not for the content of the period drama itself. Instead, the film was overshadowed by the two political figures in attendance, President Anton Rain, who made the trip from Holsord with his family, and former President Turkin Sol, barely seen on the mainland since 1949. As rumored, the two of them spoke in the washroom following the film. Peaceful protests. Wave of protests are pouring out into the streets in the country asking for their rights as citizens of Swordland. Such demonstrations are a result of piled up resentment over past budget decisions, bills, and reforms. Fortunately, it seems that the situation is not as bad since they remain mostly peaceful. I'm completely okay with peaceful protests. That's good. Washroom Summit. What are Rain and Sol hiding? At a screaming Alfred Kibbuck's overblown sob story, The Morning Shall Come, President Anton Rain and former President Turkin Sol were seen exiting the men's room together. While an illicit assassination is not out of the question, it is far more likely the two inveterated politicians were making backroom deals about which the Sordish public, as usual, will be kept in the dark. The radicals committed to getting to the bottom of the meeting, and will keep readers updated as the facts emerge. Honestly, I actually agree. It's much more likely that we were making deals than just happen to meet up. I mean, what are the chances? But funny enough, we just happened to meet up. So while I think that actually is usually a more likely thing, it's not what happened. Rain vetoes racist language bill. It's the least he could have done. Anton Rain struck down the proposal from NFP's Khizro Kibinar that would have made Sordish the only language allowed in the country's educational institutions, with rare individual exceptions to be granted by the Ministry of Education. Presented as a measure to promote integrity and unity, the bill is a slap in the face to Sordland's Bledish population and other non-Sordish speakers, not to mention an outright denial of the diversity that makes this country what it is. Kibinar must not be happy about this, but we are. Well, I'm glad you're happy. Arvory. Gasson Branch opening boosts local economy. The opening of the new Gasson Branch in Arvory has provided a substantial boost to the local economy. The branch has brought new employment opportunities and promises a stable energy supply, enhancing the city's growth prospects and improving the quality of life for residents. Woo, let's go! Lachavin. Gasson experiences boom, expands workforce. Gasson in Lachavin is experiencing a period of significant growth, leading to a major expansion of its workforce. The boom in business has not only boosted the company's fortunes, but it's also created numerous job opportunities, bolstering the local economy. Woo! Narbel. Gasson Branch growth boosts local economy. The expansion of a new Gasson Branch in Narbel has given a significant lift to the local economy. This has generated fresh job opportunities and established a stable source of energy supply in the region. This positive development is anticipated to augment Narbel's growth potential and elevate the standard of living for its residents. Let's see, Catan Security Pact, what's going on over here? CSP sends Peace Armada to assist XCC. In a spirited demonstration of international solidarity, the CSP has dispatched a Peace Armada to assist the Xi'an Economic Corporation in combating piracy. The move has been warmly received by the XCC member nations, particularly Canal, Exiliana, Narshima, and Finca, and further strengthens cooperative ties between CSP and XCC. The Peace Armada, led by the flagship vessel Slavara, comprises of diverse fleets of destroyers, frigates, and support vessels. Their mission is not only to deter piracy, but also to provide humanitarian aid and bolster maritime security in the region. With this action, the CSP reaffirms its commitment to upholding the international maritime security and extends its support to allies and strategic partners during times of crisis. It also showcases the CSP's dedication to fostering a secure and stable environment for international trade and commerce. Arcasian Treaty Organization. ATO IEC uncovers energy resource in Polaris. The ATO International Expedition Command has established a groundbreaking presence in Polaris, uncovering a wealth of untapped energy resources. These resources, showing promise of sustainable and high yield, have sparked global interest and paved the way for further explorations in the polar region, a scientific achievement. The discovery is said to be a potential game-changer in the energy sector. During the expedition, the team also encountered indigenous communities that had remained untouched by modern civilization, as they were brought into contact with the outside world for the first time. The ATO now faces the delicate task of respecting their cultural integrity while enabling their integration into the global community. It's a fine balance to strike between advancing scientific exploration and ensuring the welfare of these unique communities. Let's see, what do we got? I'd say let's start with our ceremonial duty. Oh wait, we have one more thing to look at. What am I doing? Durdia extends blessings on Dissension Day. Supreme Wiseman Jorga Asmil has issued a special address on the sacred day of Dissension, sending blessings to the global nurse community, including those in Swordland. He encourages all to reflect on the teaching of Nurti, and specifically Saint Warek, and to uphold its principles in their daily lives. In a veiled reference to recent tensions, he appealed for reaching Gulkanada and mutual servitude to God among all nations, irrespective of their beliefs. Woo, that sounds good. Ceremonial duty for the Day of Dissension. Morning haze surrounded the city of Deir as the sun dawned on the Day of Dissension, the holiest day of the Nurti religion. It celebrated the first message received from God by Saint Dast and his 30 disciples. As per tradition, the celebration was held inside the arch sanctuary of Dast Nurti, closed to the public eye. This year, however, for the first time ever, it is going to be televised. That was Lucian's idea, as he saw it, granting the people a rare glimpse at the grand ceremony and showing them how seriously the president took this whole event would ease any tensions that lingered in the region. And so we arrived at the largest cathedral in Swordland. A huge crowd gathered round our convoy as our car pulled up to the entrance. This will work out well, trust me. Of course, that's only if the prayer is done completely correctly. Please don't forget the order. Alright. I'm gonna move my mic out of the way for a moment. I need to write this down quick. First, you will grasp the holy scepter with left hand. Then, first you will need to grasp the holy scripture with your left hand. Then touch the altar, if I can, with your right hand. What am I doing? I'm so unprofessional. That needs a period, of course. Then kneel before the archpriest and wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. First, grasp the holy scepter with your left hand, then touch the altar with your right. Kneel before the archpriest. Wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. There we go. Oh, sorry, there's more. Then touch the sword with the hand you touched your altar with. So touch the sword with your right hand. Then touch the sword with the hand you touched the altar with. Touch the altar with your right. Yeah. And then hand the scepter to the archpriest and receive the sword before passing it on to a disciple. Alright, there we go. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? I didn't understand a word you just said. Just do your best to remember it. We can't afford to lose our religious base over this. You will have to go first. I will come inside later, and we will meet up after your part is done. Good luck, sir. Exit the car. I exited the car, and I was greeted by a chorus of cheers and camera flashes. I waved to the people as I made my way to the grand gates. The arch sanctuary was a sight to see. With its towering visage, it cast a shadow over a large portion of the city. I had to crane my neck to see the narrow spires at the top. Just standing next to it made me feel awe and dread in equal measure. As I reached the gates, I spotted my welcoming committee. The archpriest and his disciples were waiting for my arrival, and my approach. They all bowed their heads in respect. The archpriest gave me an affectionate smile as he straightened back up. Tall and handsome in his mid-50s, he was one of the youngest and most popular archpriests in history. Some of his more avid followers even likened him to Saint Dast. Mr. President, praise God. It is a blessing to see you on our most holy day again. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. It is nice to be here in Deir again. The crowd was still cheering loudly. The archpriest turned and raised both of his hands, and everyone immediately fell silent. Oh, great people of Swordland, once again we are gathered here to honor the Day of Dissension. I'm indescribably happy to be sharing this moment with you, as well as every blood and sword, old and young, tuning in to their television to watch this holy celebration, commemoration, whatever. Along with the leader of our great nation, I say, let the holy day begin. Stay far from evil, O sons and daughters, for evil hides itself under many disguises. Disguises such as blasphemy, apostasy, and even alcohol. Be good, my children. Praise God. Praise Swordland. He smiled beautifully as the crowd burst into rapturous applause. Woo, yeah! After it subsided, he turned to me. Shall we move inside for your confession? My confession? Yes, just like last year, every man must confess before the ceremony starts. He led me through the main hall, which had a stratigraphic ceiling and numerous icons lining the walls. We walked up a creaking spiral staircase to the top floor and finally arrived in front of the confession chamber. Right this way. He gestured toward a chair in the dark room. The room smelled of old mahogany and scented candles. The archpriest proceeded to light each and every one of the candles, one for each virtue and vice. I will be right with you. He left the room, and a minute later I heard the sound of a sliding window right next to me. He spoke with a very soft voice. Anton Rain, speak. Speak and confess now before the one God, and may he repent your sins on the most holy day of dissension. I confess that I have been a bad husband, putting my work above her, commonly. Family is the cornerstone of society. Under the watchful eyes of the God, men are required to protect their wives and family. But God created us as complex creatures. At times, conflicts arise among us. Tell me, what was your sin? I've been neglecting my family due to the stress of my position. Tragedy of neglect happens to all working men that feeds his family. Rejoice, God is kind in the matter of family. Anything else you would like to confess? I confess that I'm not sure what I am doing for Swordland is enough. You do carry a heavy burden on your shoulder. What you have confessed is not a sin, but you may share your burden with me if you like. I'm trying to reform the country, but I don't know if the country is ready for that yet. Reformation is one of the tenets of Nerity, and it must come slowly but surely. Anything else you would like to confess? That's all for today. Before God, I thank you for sharing. You are now forgiven before God, Anton Rain. May you never sin again. I am not giving you everything, but, you know. Oh well. The sliding window closed, and the archpriest entered the confession chamber. For the confession to end, you must extinguish the candles, representing each one of your virtues and vices. With this, the once burning sins connecting to you, and now smoke, and then nothing. Extinguish the candles. One by one, I extinguished the candles. Well done, Mr. President. Let's move on to my quarters before the ceremony. He led me through the 1,000-year-old corridors to his office. The smell of dust and old tomes was in the air, along with the scent of burning incense being prepared for the ceremony. Well then, please have a seat. The wooden chair next to him looked like it might turn to dust at a single touch. I sat down gingerly. It was surprisingly sturdy. Are you ready for the ceremony? Absolutely. Very good to hear. He leaned back in his chair comfortably. I wanted to give you something, a gift to celebrate this special day. He pulled out a large rectangular box from his desk drawer. The box was lined with gold and expensive gemstones. A beautiful sight, isn't it? He opened the box and showed me what was inside. It was a dagger. The handle looked like it was made of pure gold, and had a very large gem at the end. On the blade, the words were inscribed. Victor insists da. Victory is close. On the other side, another set of words. King Egmont. This dagger belonged to King Egmont. It is a very important artifact of the Kingdom of Swordland era. It is now yours, Mr. President. Thank you. It is an honor. Think of the past and think of who you are. And we are. Traditions are what brought us to this point. Now, then, it should be right about time. A couple of knocks were heard on the door, and a young boy came in. He bowed before the archpriest, then me, before letting us know the ceremony was about to begin. We made our way downstairs, where the ceremony was already in progress. The choir sang up angelically as the archpriest took his position beside the altar. When they finished their hymn, an expectant silence fell over the room. It was time for my part. I started my walk, bowed, and approached the altar. Oh, okay. Journal. First, grasp the holy scepter with your left hand. Then, touch the altar with right. I grabbed the scepter with my left hand, then touched the altar with my right. Then kneel before the archpriest, kissing the ring being not part of it, but if you did that, it would be so awkward because of that. Scepter in hand, I knelt before the archpriest. The archpriest lay the sword on my shoulder. And wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. Then touch the sword with your right hand. I touched the sword with my right hand. Then hand the scepter to the archpriest. Yeah, hand the scepter to the archpriest. I handed the scepter to the archpriest and waited for him to give me the sword. The archpriest handed me the sword. And received the sword before passing it to a disciple. Hand the sword back to the archpriest. Here you go! I passed the sword to a disciple. I got up and proceeded to my designated spot near Lucian. He leaned over and whispered in my ear. Compared to last year, that went surprisingly well, sir. My eyes met the archpriest, and he very slightly nodded. The ceremony went on for another hour and a half. Finally, the noon bells chimed, marking the end of the cathedral service. We left the cathedral to greet the waiting crowd. I stepped outside. I heard everyone cheering and chanting my name. Lucian's gambit seemed to have been a great success. We waved proudly for a minute or two. See, sir, I told you it would work. We entered our cars and drove back to the suites in Dier. But that is a good time to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.